It's often been said that the only thing guaranteed in life is death. And while this may well be true, it's interesting to consider what happens to us after we have died. I know that there's a good many religions will tell you they have the answer, but I will leave that side of it to them. The only side of it that I intend to discuss right now is the physical side of what happens to us after we die, because not many people seem to really give that a lot of thought. Okay, what happens to us when we die? Well, it doesn't really matter how we're dispatched. We may be cremated, we may be buried, but the overall effect is pretty much the same as far as the atoms that make us are concerned, because atoms are pretty much totally indestructible. What happens is that the atoms that make up our bodies were not created by the universe exclusively for our use. All atoms are recycled. All the atoms that are in our bodies were previously part of something else, and we have taken them on board by eating or drinking, and as we grow we retain these atoms. The atoms that form me right now have joined together in such a way that they've formed molecules, and some of those molecules will be blood, some will be bone, some will be muscle, and so on and so forth. But if we break down those molecules to the atoms, they won't and can't be destroyed. They will go on forever. So once I've gone, and I have been, the parts of my body have been broken down, I will be, some parts of me may be recycled by the planet, absorbed into the soil, absorbed into plants, into the atmosphere, in all manner of things. And that's where we got the atoms from in the first place, from all over the globe. To emphasise the point about recycling, it's interesting to know that the atoms that are inside my body right now, some of them would have been part of someone else many years ago. The further back in time we go, the more likelihood there is that those atoms from that person have had time to recycle. There's mathematically a statistical certainty that some of the atoms that make me would come from someone we all know from history, such as Julius Caesar, say. There's also a great many atoms in the atmosphere, in the air we breathe, and you may have heard it said that in the very last breath we take, there will be an atom or two from the very first breath that we took when we were born, because the atoms are so many in a lump of air that given time to redistribute around the globe, there's still enough there, even that thinly spread, that by taking in a lungful, once again one of those atoms will enter our lungs. By the same token, if you take a deep breath now, one of the atoms, one of the molecules I should say, of air that you take into your lungs will have, almost without doubt, have also been absorbed into the lungs of someone as far back as, say, Jesus Christ. If Jesus Christ existed, then you will breathe some of the same molecules of air that he breathed. That's a fact. So they tell us. But it makes sense. So, in the sense of our atoms, we are immortal because the atoms keep going on. They're recycled and made into other things, and at some point they come together to form us, to form people, and then they're redistributed and go back into inert, inanimate objects, and then they go into other things, into the water perhaps, into the atmosphere, into trees, into plants of any description. but they continuously recycle. So on the broader scale, looking at the whole thing on a broader spectrum, the planet is continuously recycling atoms. And then on an even larger scale, the solar system is, the universe is. The whole universe came from but a single point of energy, the Big Bang. And from that moment, all the energy that was created can't go away. It can only change. It's either matter or radiation. At the moment, of course, I'm made of matter. But it wasn't always that way. And when I die, my atoms will be put back into the universe, as it were, and made use of in different ways. Is anything truly immortal? Maybe the universe is. Who knows? Maybe there's life after death. Who knows? All I know for sure is that while there's a universe, my atoms will be in it forever. And at some point in the future, when my great grandchildren are playing out in the garden and it starts to rain, in one of the raindrops that falls on their heads, there could well be some of the atoms that are in me right now. Interesting thought, isn't it?